Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Luis Kalil from Red Devil Vortex and the Handsome Devils, and I'm very pleased and honored to be here today with you guys at the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric Podcast.
This week on Hooligan Nation, is he a prodigy? Is he the next guitar god? Is it God-given talent or plain old hard work and dedication? You're going to have to hang with the hooligans to find out. Because you got
nothing
to lose.
You wanted the best. Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS.
Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric Podcast, the podcast where the riffs are loud, but our opinions are louder. I'm Anthony.
Yeah, I'm Rocco.
And I'm Black Diamond Dave.
Yes, you both are. What's up, hooligans, and welcome to episode number 73 of the Hooligan Nation. This week, we have one of the most amazing guitar players I have ever seen in my entire life. Now. Did you hear me correctly? I have seen Jakey Lee, Zakk Wylde, Eddie Van Halen, the god of all gods, Ace Frehley, Bruce Kulick. Am I missing anybody? Kirk Hammett, Dave Mustaine. I have seen guitar gods, and I am betting this guitar player is the next guitar god. But before that, we have news, music we're listening to, and of course, our weekly poll. But first, episode number 72, the ultimate KISS album opener showdown. What worked and what didn't? Father Rocco.
Yes.
Thank you. Your thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
Well, it's real easy to sum up. KISS knew what they were doing when they were doing album openers. There's very few. I don't think there was really any bad album openers. So it was really hard to even think about replacing album openers with another song on the album because most of the time they made the right choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be to do that.
I thought it was interesting how similar so many of our answers were, or how close they were.
Considering our age gap,
right?
It very much surprised me. But that makes me think that if we lined up 100 KISS fans, it wouldn't be that much different. And if you go back in the comments from that show, it's really not that much different. I think it's almost universally thought Detroit Rock City is the best album opener. Yeah. Which happened to be my number one, and your number
everybody's
one, and your number right. one, and it also seemed to be the Hooligans' number one, also, which I think is very cool, and that means that they're all right along with me and you two, I guess. News. Anybody got any news?
Yeah, I got some news. On Loudwire on January 12th, Black Label Society pays tribute to Ozzy on the new album, Engines of Demolition. It's going to be their 12th album, and it's due to release on March 27th, 2026. And I'll be going to see him in April.
Oh, right on. That'll be a good time.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Zakk Wylde live.
Always a good time. The only news I have is the passing of Bob Weir from Grateful Dead. Passed away, 78 years old, from it was lung issues and cancer.
Yeah.
Super sad.
Condolences to all your deadheads.
He's an original member. I mean, Bobby had some of the most iconic songs of the band. It's a big loss for the jam band scene. R.I.P. Bobby.
My news is to announce our Ace Frehley champagne glass giveaway. Is everybody prepared?
I'm in suspense.
Yes.
I'm feeling as though there will be a drum roll right now. Our winner of our Ace Frehley champagne glass giveaway is Mark Phillips from Maryland.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations, Mark.
Congratulations, Hooligan.
And I will be contacting you via email sometime this weekend. For those of you that are all kinds of bummed out that you didn't win, we have good news. Our next giveaway will start February 1st. So on next week's show, we will preview what we will be giving away. And I'll give you a hint. It's got autographs from Gene and Paul on it.
What?
Music we're listening to. What you got?
I am listening to a guitarist that I've been wanting to dive into a little bit for a while. Phil X and the Drills. Talk You Off the Ledge is a really cool tune. We Bring Rock and Roll is another one. Awesome guitar work on it. Playing Fair is another good one. So yeah, I've been really getting into a lot of his stuff lately. Kind of by accident. He was doing some kind of clip on YouTube, and I was just watching his skills that he has, and I started diving in. He's good.
Oh, I love Phil X.
Yeah. Oh, look at us.
Right on.
Twins.
Nice.
I saw Phil X with Bon Jovi twice. And, I love Richie, but Phil X is great. And that documentary, which, Dave, have you ever seen that documentary? You know which one I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Oh, damn it. It's a documentary about ghost players and session players.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it.
Oh,
if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's good.
oh, what is the name
Really
of it? I know
good.
Oh, it's really, really good. They had it was like whatever their little band name was, correct? No, maybe I'm thinking something else.
No, but I'll when I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And for the hooligans that are screaming at me right now, I'll make sure on next week's episode that I give you the name of that, because it's really good. I've brought it up here before. I know I have. Dave, you got any music?
I'm on a dead kick, man. Bobby passed away, so that's all I've been doing this week. I've been listening to Cornell 77. Everybody knows that's the legendary Dead show.
Everybody
that knows the Dead.
Oh, I was gonna say
Cornell 77.
All I know is the Touch of Grey.
Yikes.
I told you that the place that I go to a lot for open mic, the stage and everything like that, they had a cover band there called Baked Alaska, and they were unbelievable. But the songs never ended. Every song was
no, they're all one song.
Yeah, there were times where I'm like, they're not done with that yet, and then I would turn away, and then the guitarist would just start going off and be like, oh my god. Yeah, so yeah,
it's different. It's an acquired taste.
Definitely different.
Well, I've been listening to Blackstone Cherry because they have released 2 new singles off their upcoming album. The first song is Celebrate, and the second one is Neon Eyes. And Black Diamond Dave, if you don't know Blackstone Cherry, you're slipping, because they're from the South.
I was going to say they're Southern rock band. I know them.
Oh, I love Blackstone.
You like
Cherry.
a lot of Southern rock.
Yeah, I guess I do. I don't know. Jackal and Blackstone Cherry, and
you like Blackberry Smoke?
No.
I
haven't really given them a chance, but I can't remember like how I found Blackstone Cherry, but it was a long time ago, and
they had one hit. I can't think of the name of it. I've been trying since you started talking about them.
I know which one you're talking about. Boom Boom.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I can't remember the actual name of it, but don't you fear, Spotify is here.
I'm doing it now.
Blame It on the Boom Boom, which is a great song, but it is not their only great song. I mean, they're one of those bands that I can listen to the entire album and I like everything on the album, and that's really hard for me to do. Do you two know what time it is?
It's poll time.
Poll time.
It's poll time. Our weekly polls can be found on our community tab and on our Facebook group. This week's question is, in your opinion, which band covers KISS music the best? Your choices were the Handsome Devils, the Bruce Kulick Band, or the Chris Jericho-led Quarantine. Father Rocco, what say you?
It's a tough one because they all do it well. I think because I didn't know a lot about them, I got to go with Handsome Devils because it came out of nowhere for me and it left an impact on me. So at Quarantine, they're fantastic at it too. Yeah, I got to go with Handsome Devils.
Black Diamond Dave.
I actually went Bruce Kulick.
You can't go wrong there either.
I couldn't do Bruce that way. You still get Todd. It's a solid offering, man.
Yeah, it's a tough choice.
Absolutely.
I came up with the question, and part of the reason why I came up with the question because I think all three bands were spectacular.
Me too.
Absolutely.
And I thought Quarantine. I think Quarantine, all three of them set themselves apart from all the other lesser known cover bands because they weren't hits crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Quarantine does pretty much the 80s. And then Bruce's band and the Handsome Devils did deep cuts, which KISS fans have been complaining forever that they want to hear live. So it was really hard. And I struggled because, I wanted to tap Bruce Kulick Band because that makes the most sense. And it does make the most sense. And then I looked at, Todd Kearns is singing for both the Handsome Devils and the Bruce Kulick Band. So picking one isn't that much different. And what really
Handsome Devils with special guest Bruce Kulick.
No, what really set it apart for me was Gabriel Connor and Luis Kalil are a different generation than KISS or us.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought, I don't know how old Joey Casada is, but I'm guessing he's somewhere between Dave and us.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely younger than us.
These guys are they're younger than Dave.
They're what rock and roll needs.
Right.
They're exactly what rock and roll needs.
They're the next generation to carry the torch.
100%.
And that's the reason why I chose the Handsome Devils. Now, does anybody want to know what the Hooligans thought?
If I had to guess, I would be very, very shocked if Bruce Kulick didn't take it.
Bruce had to take it.
Quarantine came in with 2%. By no means should anybody take that as a negative because it isn't.
No, definitely.
Quarantine was spectacular. They do a complete show, which adds to it. Chris Jericho is all over the stage. And their song choices are spectacular also. The Handsome Devils came in second place with 40%. I can't build them up any more than I already have.
Right.
And the Bruce Kulick Band came in at 58%. There are no losers in this, but I'm still going to go with the fact that Bruce Kulick's band won because Sword and Stone.
Yeah, I'll
absolutely.
back you on that, 100%. Yep.
Because there is the most famous KISS song never released. Thank you to all the hooligans that voted. A new poll is up right now, so please, please, please vote. It is both your right and responsibility. Battleborn is a collaborative effort among like-minded individuals and organizations intent on repairing and restoring people who have served our country. We do this by delivering a unique level of support and guidance to those servicemen and women who have emotional and psychological wounds. We provide support directly and indirectly in collaboration with others in our community who value those who have served this nation and its communities. For more information, go to wearebattleborn.com. So I'd like the honor of introducing the next guitar god, in my opinion, Luis Kalil of the Red Devil Vortex and the Handsome Devils. Luis, thank you for coming on the Hooligan Nation and hanging with the hooligans.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. I saw your episode about the KISS Cruise, and you talked very highly about Handsome Devils and you know, individually each one of us, which we appreciate a lot. And you know, thank you for having me. It's going to be a blast to spend the next hour talking to you guys, talk about music, KISS, and everything.
Dude, I gotta say this, and I'm pretty sure most podcasts wouldn't say this, but I'll do it anyway. I had no idea who Red Devil Vortex was. I had never heard of the band.
Same here.
Until that pre-party, and I can't remember how I found out, but I went to Red Devil Vortex, and it was all based on two things. It was all based on your guitar playing, which is outer worldly to me, and it was based on Gabriel's versions of Gene Simmons songs that I was like, man, I got to find out what these guys are doing. And I know you didn't play on it, and I'm going out of order, but I got to get this in. I do not like covers, and I hate when bands cover KISS. You guys in the Handsome Devils knocked it out of the park 100%. And then I went searching for Red Devil Vortex, and I found the cover of Love Gun. And other than the fact that you're not on it, I love everything else about it.
Nice.
Like, that's how you cover a song, to where you're going, this isn't the cover. Like, it's an original song.
Right, an original take.
Oh my God. I gotta, it's just mind blowing. Like, there's two covers of KISS that I actually like. The Rob Zombie, God of Thunder,
it's a good one.
And Red Devil Vortex, Love Gun. And I don't even know, do you guys usually play that live, or is that?
We never have. You know, honestly, we never have. That was right before I joined the band. It was during, I think, 2020 that Gabriel put that out. It features a great friend of ours on vocals, Paulie Z, who shares the vocals with Gabriel, and they do a great job. But I'm not featured on the track, honestly. But you know, it would be awesome. But now we have the Handsome Devils that plays only KISS, so maybe we'll do a Love Gun take, sometime.
Awesome.
Heck yeah,
that'd be
dude.
awesome.
For those of you that don't know about Luis, by the time we're done with this podcast, you'll know everything that you can possibly know. Luis is the guitar player behind Red Devil Vortex and the Handsome Devils, known for his raw intensity, hard-hitting riffs, and commanding stage presence. With Red Devil Vortex, Kalil helps craft a sound rooted in dark riffs, aggressive rhythms, and an unapologetic edge. In the Handsome Devils, he showcases a complementary side of his artistry, balancing swagger, groove, and melody while maintaining the grit that defines his musical identity. Luis is known for his commanding stage presence and relentless work ethic, and that would be an understatement, to say the least.
It's a great introduction. Thank you.
Luis, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and where your journey into music began?
Well, I was born in the south of Brazil, in a state called Rio Grande do Sul. Name of my city is Bagé, so it's right in the border between Brazil and Uruguay, very down south in South America. And things over there are very rural. You know what I mean? Like, you see horses in the street and stuff like that. most of the streets are not even like like they're just like stones, you know what I mean? Like it's very, very, very rural in a small city. So it's the type of town that you go to school like walking, you know what I mean? You don't take cars to go anywhere because everything is so close. And then by the time I was 8 years old, my older brother, he came home from school one day, and he had made this friend that introduced him to Nirvana and Guns N' Roses. And they started buying pirate DVDs in our town. It was the Nirvana MTV Unplugged and Guns N' Roses Live in Tokyo and the Iron Maiden Rock in Rio. Those were the three main DVDs that surrounded our house, you know what I mean? So they started listening to that, and I started picking my ears, like, wow, this is really interesting. I never heard anything like that. And one day, this kid that was friends with my brother, he played guitar, and he came to our house, and he sat on the couch. I'll never forget that. He sat on the couch, and I was, on my dad's lap. My brother was sitting by my side, and my mom as well. And he said, "Hey, you guys should hear this guy play. He's awesome." And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" He was this chubby guy, and he had this small fingers, and he started playing like "Come As You Are," "Smells Like Teen Spirit," just simple songs, "Civil War." And I never seen anything like that in my life. I was like, this is the most incredible thing in the world. And by that time, I knew nothing about rock music, and my brother started taking lessons, and, I asked for lessons for him, and he would show me a few things. Then I got lessons. And by the time I started messing with the old acoustic guitar that my dad gave us, that he used to own, I felt like I was born to do that. I can't explain. What happened, but I really would mess with the notes, and I would try to do the exercises and put a few chords together, play like songs like "Don't Cry" and "Come As You Are," as I said, the simple songs that everybody learned right off the bat. And I felt this instant connection with the instrument, and I never felt anything like that in my life with anything else. You know what I mean? And from that point on, I just kept on doing it. And the passion for music, and especially rock and metal, it was just something that grew on me like I can't explain. It was just something super, super natural. And by the time I was like 10, I got my first guitar for, we celebrate Children's Day in Brazil in October. And my dad got me this Tajima guitar it's very popular in Brazil. And then from that point on, I kept on playing. I was obsessed with Iron Maiden. It's my favorite band. You can see here. Maiden has taught me a lot of the technique, that I have on guitar. Usually I play here in the States because Maiden in Brazil is more popular than in America. And, people say, oh, your influences of Randy Rhoads and Jakey Lee, because of the legatos and some of the runs that I do, is like, that's actually Dave Murray, but
Wow.
People don't get that, here in the States, because nobody thinks of that, like A.J. Smith, Dave Murray, Yanni Gers. They always relate to, the Aussie guitar players, the, Eddie Van Halen. Obviously, they were huge on me, but like that Maiden was my first introduction to like technical playing and lead guitar playing like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I like when they do the harmonies like together with the two guitars, the dual guitars. Good stuff.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So basically, that's my how I started my journey in music.
All right. This is basically kind of to kind of cherry pick off what you just said. Do you come from a musical family? Like I know you said your father had a guitar.
Yeah, he had a guitar and he did play a little bit. He played piano when he was a kid as well. But funny enough, when they had kids, we're three boys, right? So when they started having kids, they completely stopped listening to music because life just gets busy and stuff.
Right.
So by the time my brother started interacting with this kid in school and bringing these DVDs at home, I never even recall them listening to music at the house,
Oh, wow.
they did have CDs. They talked about some music that they liked, but it was not a habit. You know what I mean? So for you to have an idea, now that I was just in Brazil last month, and since I got out of my house to move to America, I found out that my mom sometimes know more music than I do from the 80s and 70s. She knows some of the KISS stuff. She likes Lick It Up. She knows some of the 70s stuff.
Cool.
But she likes a lot of, artists like Rod Stewart. She likes Guns N' Roses a lot, which I remember her saying when when she saw us, listening to Guns N' Roses in the first place. So she knows a lot of music, because she grew up in the best era ever of rock and roll and stuff. Couldn't avoid it back then. So, but it was not something that, in my house, I never saw my parents listening to music, never saw my parents playing. It was just, I think, actually, that's why probably it surprised me so much when I saw somebody playing in front of me, because it was something that was unheard of from the reality I was living in,
Yeah.
Right on. So you answered part of my question, because I was going to ask you about the moment. But what about a specific song that made you love the guitar?
Dude, I think the solo of Sweet Child Mine, that song in its own, like, I think
great pick.
I always say, like, people, of course it's a huge hit and people usually make fun of huge hits, one of the forbidden songs on Guitar Center or whatever. But I think that's the greatest rock guitar solo, in my opinion. I think Sweet Child Mine is the epitome of everything rock guitar is about.
Super solid.
Of course, you got Eruption, you got a lot of other songs, but this is not, it's just my opinions, my story, you know what I mean? That was the song that caught my eye, like, I need to play like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Who are some influence, other than Iron Maiden, Dave Murray and stuff, but who are some of your influences or mentors?
Oh man, there's so many. In my journey in music, I was incredibly fortunate to cross paths with a lot of people that I've looked up to, and a lot of people that I, not only playing but also getting to meet and working with them. But also there's a lot of people that are not famous that were a huge part of my journey. First person, was my older brother, for sure. Like, him influencing me in the house, and he was the Metallica and Megadeth guy. I was the Maiden guy. So all the songs that I knew of Metallica and Megadeth, it's because I heard him listening to in his room. You know what I mean? And he liked Maiden too, but that was like the first. He was the Metallica guy, and then we would play all these songs together. We would make a set list when we were on vacation from school in Brazilian summer, December, January. And then we would learn the songs and rehearse them together and put the backing tracks on the sound system we had and just jam, you know what I mean? And he was awesome. So he's a big part of my journey. And then the guitar teacher that I had, his name is Marcus. He was the guy who introduced me to Steve Vai, Tony McAlpine, Jason Becker, all these guys, because by the time I met him when I was like around 11, I only cared about Iron Maiden. I spent from 9 years old to 11 years old, I listened to nothing but Iron Maiden. And I'm being serious. As far as I went was like Bruce Dickinson solo, that's the stuff that I would listen to when he was an Iron Maiden. So I was like a total psycho,
Love it.
And then, he was an important part of my journey. Then I think two guys that produce my albums. One of them is my friend Renato from Brazil. He produced my first two albums. And I've learned so much from him because he's an incredible guitar player as well. He used to play in a band called Hibria from Brazil. And during the process of recording those albums, I spotted a lot of things that I thought I knew, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Because I remember doing some takes and he was like, okay, now play that 16th notes. And I was like, what is a 16th note? I could play it, but I didn't know what he was. You know what I mean? So a lot of the things that I learned about arrangement and song structure was with him. And then when I moved to America to study at the Musicians Institute, I met a lot of guys that helped me a lot. Like Stig Matheson was the head of the guitar program, and he was a crazy KISS fan. I'm talking about knowing who played what in what track and what day Destroyer came out. You know what I mean? You know what day is today, Luis? It's July 16th. Destroyer came out 40 years ago. He would say that kind of shit to me. And I wasn't even like huge on KISS yet, you know? Mind you, this is kind of the same time that I met Gabriel, but we're not that close. Then I met Adair, who produced some of my stuff. He produced the last Red Devil Vortex album as well. Adair Dalfinbach is a guy who I, you know, learned so much from. So these people that are like backstage, sometimes they influence you more than the guys that you look up to, like in bands and stuff. You know what I mean? And you guys mentioned him earlier. Gabriel is a huge influence on you know, my development as an artist since I met him in 2017. He's a guy who I've always looked up in terms of commitment to music and to career, and how serious he's always taken it. You know what I mean? He's a very solid guy. He's rock solid, man. And he's very passionate about his craft and the music itself. Gabriel's not passionate about the things that music would bring to him. He just likes doing the thing, you know, and I really admire that a lot. And since I joined the band, I've learned so much from him, you know, that I feel very privileged to be in a band with that guy.
It really comes through when you guys are on stage or a music video or the audio. It really comes through to me that the drive from both of you.
Right.
I mean, you know, we were joking that the night of the pre-party when Ace's solo band was on, here's this little guy walking around in a black leather jacket. We had no idea who you were, but we knew you were somebody.
Yeah.
And you know, all these people are in this small room and we're looking at each other like, hey, you know who that is? No, I don't know who that is. Hey, he's somebody. And it was nothing other than the way you carried yourself. And then all of a sudden the Handsome Devils get on and we're like, there he is. And then you started to play.
Right.
And we were, I mean, it was like 15 seconds into the first song and it was like, sold. I'm sold. I don't know who this guy is.
Absolutely.
But I'm sold. This guy is different. And at least for me, I haven't stopped since I think I started searching like Friday after the pre-party.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Where did you come from? And then that linked to Gabriel and that linked to Red Devil Vortex. And there was this whole big thing that opened up that I wasn't expecting. And like we do a little segment in each of our Friday podcasts on music we're listening to. And I'm starting to get to be like a broken record. Like every week it's like, yeah, I'm listening to Red Devil Vortex. I just found this, or I just found that. I just found out this week that you have 2 solo albums.
Yes, that's true.
I haven't got to them yet, but I'm working. I haven't got to them because I can't get off of Red Devil Vortex.
That's good, man. That's
as soon as I can get off of Red Devil Vortex, I'm going to them, and I'm like, well, and then we're talking like we want the Handsome Devils to put out a record of KISS covers, because I'm gonna tell you right now, like Darklight, dude, Darklight is the next level. When the opening of Darklight came on, I looked over and I said, if he does this, he can do anything. And you hit the solo for Darklight, because I haven't played an instrument since I was 4, and it was pots and pans. So I know nothing about how to play a guitar or anything. All I know about the Darklight solo is you can't hide. There's just a drum beat.
That's very true.
And we were like mesmerized. And then I look around and the whole crowd was mesmerized. It was like I think for the fans, it was your coming out party that night. Specifically you. I mean, Joey Casada on drums blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, but he's a
Gabriel,
KISS star already. Everybody knows him.
Right.
Right.
and Gabriel, like, I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody. Like Todd Kearns, at least me, I knew a lot about Todd Kearns.
Right.
But the rest of you guys, like you and Gabriel, I knew nothing about you two, and I walked out of there that night like, oh, these guys are stars. Like I literally was thinking they need to do something together on their own because I didn't know about Red Devil
Right.
Vortex at the
Funny
time.
enough, yeah.
And then the next morning I start searching and I'm like, oh, they had the same idea as me.
Yeah. 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 That's funny, man. Thank you, man. That's some very kind words of you, and we appreciate it a lot.
Do they still sell pirated DVDs and CDs in the town that you grew up in Brazil?
Funny enough, I was there, as I said last month, but I didn't go to the place that I used to go. I'm sure they do, but it's way less because of YouTube and stuff. It was a whole hassle that we had to transfer, these DVDs to our computers so we could watch. Then, it's now I think it's easier for people to, like, bands pirate their stuff already themselves.
Right.
Oh, they do. Hey, do you two know why I'm asking that question? Hey,
No.
You think you could get us a pirated Vinnie Vincent CD so we don't have to pay $200 a song?
Yeah, I saw that.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you guys need anything from me, I'll be over here. I've done my job.
Oh my goodness. Anyway. So let's talk technique a little bit, specifically yours. Can you give me some background on reverse tapping and when you realized, dude, I'm doing something nobody else is doing?
Right. Well, reverse tapping came about around 2014. I was writing the title track of my album Insight. And when I was coming up with the solo section, I was at that time, one of my main influences was Kiko Loureiro, who played in Megadeth, but he's from a band called Angra from Brazil. And he was one of my favorite guitar players. He still is. But his work in Angra is what got me into him. Megadeth, he wasn't even in Megadeth at the time. And he has this phase in his career that he was huge on two hands, right? And I was working on that, and I was trying to get this hand to be as good as this. That would be perfect, right? I could play the guitar like a piano.
Right.
But then I suddenly realized, like, man, it's kind of impossible. First off, because I'm not left-handed in the first place. And this hand is always going to be better no matter what. So what limits the art of, the traditional tapping is you always do the complicated stuff here and you just add a few details here, right? In the high register. So what if I reverse that and I do details here and I do the complicated stuff here and I go back and forth?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what it, and that's in that song Insight, that's where it opened up my mind about that, because I was doing a lick here and I was just doing some extra notes in here and going back and forth. And there's a song called Mr. Fire that I do the same thing as well in that album, which features Edu, the singer of Angra, in that track. So, from that point on, I started, asking myself, where else could I take this, And then down the road, I wrote a whole course about it. There's multiple ways you can use reverse tapping, not only as a capo, but as, just an extension of, like, the limitation that the usual tapping gives to you, because you can do a lot with your both hands in both registers. You know what I mean? And it looks cool as well, so that's a plus.
Totally, dude.
The kids like it. One time I played a show in my town. This is like in 2023. Usually in the end of the year, I put together a South American clinic tour, and I've been to Argentina, Brazil, and stuff. So in my town, this kid comes to me backstage. He was like, Mom, take a picture of me and Luis. And then he grabs my guitar. He's like, no, take again. With Luis, it has to be like this.
That's awesome.
And I was like, wow, that's really cool. But I also worked with Guitar World magazine in 2022 to put together a whole tutorial on reverse tapping, and I came up with a solo song called "Reverse Strike," which features Dirk Verbeuren of Megadeth on drums. And that song, the whole idea of it was how to create a song using reverse tapping, but in a musical environment, to make a kick-ass song, make riffs with it, not only solos. And that's what the song Reverse Strike is. So if you guys want to check that out, I think that speaks for itself more than anything I could say here, because it's a cool video. It's in my opinion, a cool song as well, and showcases everything that the technique is about.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Luis, I was shocked. I got to tell you, I was shocked. I really thought when we asked the question about who influenced you, I really thought we were going to hear Ace Frehley, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee.
Yeah.
But I think that probably is what maybe sets you apart from all the other guitar players, is that like you're pulling influences from people that most of us haven't heard. I watch a lot of interviews with a lot of musicians, and I can't recall really anybody else ever really saying that. They always come with the names that everybody is gonna know, and I understand why that is. But I think that may be what really makes the difference with you, because look, you are the best that I have seen live in a very, very, very long time.
Thank you.
Guitar
100%.
players, to a certain extent, are almost like cookie cutter. They all have the same tricks. They all do the same thing. Dude, you got on stage and you were just different. You were just different. Like, you stuck out so much for being different. And also, a lot of people on stage, at least to me, come through as fake. Yes, the part of the show is you're supposed to look like you're having fun. It seemed like you were 100% having fun. You weren't working.
No, that's the whole philosophy of what we do in Red Devil. We love doing what we do, and me and Gabriel are from Brazil. So when you take the leap of faith of doing something like that, leaving your family behind for an end goal of playing music on stage, you can never take it for granted, because every time you step on that stage, you are reminded of what you left behind in order to do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of a lot of the things that you guys feel when you watch us play. It's because it has costed us a lot to be there. And I'm not talking about money.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean? You understand what I mean? I'm talking about things that, time that we put in, effort and sacrifices that we've had to make, and we still make to this day, and I feel like sometimes when people were born, let's say already in the United States, I feel that a lot of things in daily basis, people a lot of times don't appreciate as much because they've always had that way. You know what I mean?
Amen.
And
Amen.
When you grow up in South America, for example, like there's a lot of things, man, that you don't have, and then when you move here, you always have that comparison. You know what I mean? Of what you didn't have and now you do have, so you can't take it for granted. And when it comes to the playing part that you mentioned, like, sometimes I mention people that were part of my story. They're not famous, like I mentioned to you guys. But of course, I love Eddie Van Halen. Is a huge influence on me, and Randy Rhoads as well. But my main guys were always like Dave Murray / I love Jason Becker as well, Yngwie Malmsteen, the flashy part of my playing. Steve Vai, John Petrucci. But it's just like in my life, very early on, I had to learn how to be myself. because I started being a public person when I was 12 years old. And as a teenager, I was very fat. And people used to pick on me on the internet for that, for my looks and stuff like that, you know. And of course, it hit home when I heard that, but it gave me so much understanding of, like, you have to love yourself, like you have to own what you are. You can be fat as but if you own it, people will see it in a different way. So no matter what you are, with all the defects or the flaws that you have, you got to own it, you know what I mean? And I'm not the stereotype guitar player that people think, without, you know, a shirtless guy, skinny. Like, probably, I always say one of my thighs is the size of Slash's chest when he was 20 years old. You know? You know what I mean? So, like, and I remember thinking about that when I was coming up. I was like, man, this might be a big problem for me, you know, because there's all these things, like I am different, you know. But I think when you own it, that's when everything changes, because the artist leads, people follow, the fans will follow. You have to lead, you know. And the kind of confidence that we have when we go on stage, and I'm saying we because I know Gabriel shares the same thing, it's something inside your head that goes beyond the belief of something tangible. It's, you know, that you can deliver. You fought so hard for that you know, you put in the work. It's like an automatic thing that happens, you know what I mean? It just comes out because you've done work, you've paid your dues, like rehearsing the songs and stuff, and you love doing that. So just, you know, it's like a cruise control, basically.
But
and
that's the realism. That's what comes through to the people in the crowd and to the fans. It's not an act. It's not a show. That's really you.
Authentic.
And
that's awesome.
You know, for somebody that, what'd you guys play that night? 10 songs?
16.
16 songs?
Yeah.
In the matter of 16 songs, I was hooked. Song number 3. And yeah, your musicianship is probably the number one reason, but the number 2 reason was the realism on the stage, the having fun, the wanting to be up there. It wasn't a job. It didn't come through as a job. And with most bands, at least in my experience, is when the record sales start coming and the money starts coming, it becomes more and more of a job. And for some bands, it always seemed like a job. And that ruins the, let's say, the illusion for the fans. But
Absolutely.
I didn't get the feeling like any of it was an illusion. And that really includes Todd Kearns and Joey Casada. Like,
of course,
as a band, you guys just look like you were up there having fun. And on top of that, you were killing it, that's what everybody's looking for. I mean, I'm pretty sure I said this in the episode about the KISS Kruise Landlocked, but you guys were the stars of the entire weekend to me.
Thank you.
It's really hard to go to a KISS thing and KISS not be the stars. And I'm not even, look, I loved their Saturday night performance.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
But it wasn't like the Handsome Devils, because I would go I would go back just for you guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
We were sitting there, I think it was Saturday night, and I don't even know if you remember this, but we were sitting there eating pizza, and I looked across the room and saw you and was and told Father Rocco, like, I gotta go over there. I have to get this guy on the podcast. Like, and that was my number one priority. Out of all of those people that were there, my number one priority became Luis Kalil, the least known of the
Right.
bunch.
Right.
Like I would have walked past Bruce Kulick, Paul Stanley, and Gene Freeman. No, I want to hear your story. I want to
That's
talk
funny.
to you. Like
No,
I
man,
just think
that's awesome to hear, dude. That's awesome to hear. Like as you said yourself, like KISS was like that was a very emotional show, at least for me. It was the second time I've seen KISS in my life. And I think they came across as they were solid, man, and they were
Heck
happy
yeah.
about it. You could see it.
Yeah.
But dude, thank you so much for all that you've said about us, and we actually, because of the love that we feel like that, the room, the love in the room. This is the second time I played with the Handsome Devils. The first time was the Creatures of the Night show that we did at KISS Can't Say Goodbye, and this time we only did KISS Deep Cuts. And because it felt so special, every time we played, me and Gabriel got together and were like, man, let's grab all these files and let's mix the whole thing. Let's put the show together. Let's put this out as a fully edited, show, because people will enjoy it for ages to come. Because the KISS love is something that it's almost a sickness. Like I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen Maiden fans like that, and I've seen a lot of crazy Maiden fans. You know what I mean? But like, KISS fans do stuff and appreciate stuff that I think only they do. Like all the Metallica fans are very passionate. Maiden, and there's a lot of bands that have crazy fans, but I think KISS has a special magic that grabs people, and the fandom is just so insane, to the point that we put out the Creatures show, and it was a huge success all over social media and on YouTube with more than 200,000 views. And we did the exact same thing with this show because we want to bring joy to people. You know what I mean? We feel the joy, and you guys respond back, and we want to perpetuate that online, because it's a show that anybody from in Brazil or India or China or the United States, they can just watch it in the click of a button and share that passion with all of us. And it's just awesome to hear that kind of stuff. 2009, Maiden came to Brazil, and they did an interview at a Brazilian show, and the interviewer asked Bruce Dickinson what he thought of people downloading their DVDs and stuff and not coming to the show. And he said something really funny that I will never forget. He said, watching a porn movie, it's not like the porn star. So you know what I mean? So I was like, dude, that's a great way to put it, man.
Well, my pushback from that would be, but if it's impossible to the porn star, at least you get to watch her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. No, and seriously, like that was like the my brothers and I case, because we were far from all the big shows and stuff like that, and all we had was Maiden DVDs, So for a lot of people, I see comments from India, from Argentina, hard for them to make it to Las Vegas or a KISS Can't Say Goodbye event, but they can. God knows what's going to happen in the future. At least they can share that passion and hear those songs for like everybody else, So I think that's the cool part of it.
So here's something that just popped in my head. Did you happen to notice at the KISS Kruise Landlocked that all the Americans were old? Like they were 90% of them, probably more, 95% of them were 50 plus. Which isn't surprising.
Mm-hmm.
What was surprising to me is that the South American fans were the young fans. Everybody that we talked to that weekend that was from South and Central America, they were all under 30. And I did not find a lot of American KISS fans under 50. In that it was just a weird contrast to me, which brings me to my question of what is the musical landscape like in Brazil?
Well, in Brazil, there's more scarcity of these things. So you don't have a KISS cruise in Brazil. You have a KISS show once every 3 years now, not anymore. But my point is, people really give value to things because there's not a whole lot of like big bands go there, but it's not, you don't have access to them all the time. And I think people in America, especially, it's harder to grab their attention, especially in a city like Las Vegas, LA, New York, because there's so much going on in all fronts. You know what I mean? In South America also, like, there's a lot of people that they still like CDs. They still like DVDs. You know what I mean? The rock culture is a world of its own. Not that it's not in America, but, there's less economic power in South America. We don't have dollars. It's another currency. Like, it's worth less. So life is a little bit slower. Time goes by in when it comes to a band's career. Like Iron Maiden in Brazil is still the Iron Maiden of 2000s of that Rock in Rio. You know what I mean? It's not that
Cool.
they got old, but like people still think of them like that,
Mhm.
And I think in America things move faster, and it's more technology, it's more economic power, as I said. I think all these things take a toll on the listener and the fan. So the interest is not, things are not as valuable and as scarce as it is for us in Brazil. You know what I mean? That's why when you see shows in Chile and Brazil and Argentina, people go crazy because there's more. How can I say that? But people like to express themselves a little bit more in South America than in America, in my opinion, because it's a different culture. In Brazil, you play soccer, you scream, and you have a beer after, and then you barbecue for 5 hours, then you go home at 3 a.m. and you know what I mean, you make jokes, and in
My kind of
America,
place.
like, you know what I mean, like it's
Yeah.
more loose because it's not as fast paced as the birthplace of capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we got a million things going on at one time here all the time. I
Yeah.
have 3 kids, and trust me, they're not kids anymore, but like
Right.
they're going in 100 different directions, and I'm like, hey, take a break.
Yeah.
Smell the
Mhm, slow down.
flowers, like,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to do that. But you
Yeah.
segued me into my next question. Can you tell us a little bit about your love of KISS and how did it come about?
The first huge KISS fan I met in my life was Gabriel. In Brazil, KISS was not in between the friend group that I have. It was not something very, very popular as much as Metallica or Maiden. And in my house, especially, KISS was not like one of my, me and my brother, we didn't listen to KISS a lot. We knew of them, but it was not something that we really listened to a lot. So when I met Gabriel in 2017, one of the first things you notice about him is that KISS is his life. Like, it's a big part of his life.
Does
You know?
seem that way, yes.
Yeah. So, when I joined the band, I started seeing more and more things about KISS, more videos. I started really, because Red Devil is my first band. You know what I mean? I've had my solo project and a few things before that, but like my first band was Red Devil. And I think what's fascinating about KISS, as much as the music, is the story. KISS's story is just fascinating, like not only because of the makeup, but all the characters, Bill LaCoin and Casablanca Records and the fans and their stories, like Gene being an immigrant like us, you know what I mean? You resonate with that. There's so much you can pick from, you know what I mean? So many things you can resonate with. And when I played with the Handsome Devils at KISS Cancer Goodbye 2024, that's what sealed the deal for me, because before that I learned, some songs and I listened to the records and I saw shows and stuff like that. I went to the last Hollywood Bowl show. We actually met them and stuff was awesome. But I think I understood that KISS is not a band, it's a sickness when I went to KISS Cancer Goodbye.
Yeah.
Because I saw all kinds of stuff, from bicycles to plates to dolls to everything KISS. And I've never seen anything like that, not only in music, but in any kind of industry, you know what I mean? Not even a show like Stranger Things or whatever. The KISS took it to another level. And then I realized that There's it's like the Bible of the music industry was written by KISS. Everything that everybody does to a certain extent begins with where KISS, what KISS did.
Love that.
And since then, I grew. My love for the band grew a lot with the songs and the music, not only the story. So that's kind of my take on it. Guitar playing wise, like KISS has had a lot of great guitar players. Ace being, of course, the most iconic, but they always had iconic people in the band. You know what I mean? Vinnie Vincent's playing on those albums is amazing. Bruce Kulick is incredible. So tasteful, so fucking tasteful. And Mark St. John, same thing.
Oh,
I like Tommy Thayer as well, man. I think he's solid,
Amen.
rock solid.
Heck yeah.
He's awesome. And Ace being Ace, like I've learned a lot from him. Like I remember at KISS Cancer Goodbye 2024, Jeremy Asbrook was sound checking The Elder in front of me, and me and Gabriel were watching because we didn't play that set. It was Todd and Joey, but it was Jeremy on guitar and Zach Throne on bass. So he was playing some of those solos, and right then and there, I understood Ace Frehley. I was like, wow, I have a lot to learn from this guy, because just the simplicity and the putting the quality of the music above any technicality is something that is awesome. Because in the background that I come from, I like a lot of technical guitar players that they like to show that they spent 1,000 hours playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
awesome too. But the solo of Detroit Rock City doesn't have any fast licks, and it's an anthem. The solo in Kings of the Nighttime World, for example, it's like it's a song within a song. He repeats all the nuances and all the parts and all the bands. They're all the same on the 2 rounds that he goes around. So I think that's something incredible as well about Ace Frehley and KISS. It's how they pay attention to all the details, and they make patterns for people to follow. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day, a student of mine was trying to learn calling Dr. Love, and it has some like chunks and ghost notes. And I listened to it and I laughed. I was like, no wonder the ghost notes are in the same tempo for every single chord. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that it's an accident. It's always like manufactured in a good way. You know what I mean? Thought
That's
out.
what makes
Absolutely.
it amazing.
Yeah.
You recently did a show with Tony McAlpine that
Mhm.
you're releasing or just have released on your YouTube page. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience of playing with Tony and why we should look out for that show?
Absolutely, man. The show is called When Two Shredders Collide, and it was we performed at the legendary Musicians Institute in Hollywood, which was the place I moved from Brazil to LA to study at. So it was a full circle moment for many, many reasons. First off, because Tony is one of the greats of the shred guitar, and I've always liked his stuff. He's incredible, and sharing the stage with a legend like that. Not only the fact of being there, but he played my songs and I played his songs. You know what I mean? So it was just, you're going to watch the show and you're going to see that this concert is a meeting of generations. You know what I mean? It's when 2 generations meet and they collaborate. It's not that they're battling or fighting with licks and stuff like that against each other. It's more of a collaboration. We're adding up to each other. In the first song, for example, Tony plays keyboards with my fast licks and stuff like that. So there's, because he's incredible at piano, like everybody, a lot of people know that he is as amazing as a guitar player, as a piano player. So you can see all of that, and just playing his songs with him as well. It's a cool thing to like exchange licks and play like with a guy like that has so much knowledge and just owns part of the shred guitar history, let's put it that way. And it was just a full circle moment in many aspects.
And that'll be out on your YouTube page on January 14th.
Yeah, that's already out. By the time the interview airs, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. So if you type When Two Shredders Collide, Luis Kalil, Tony McAlpine, it's going to pop up.
I won't even have to do that because the algorithm has picked
Right.
up that I'm like
Right.
Luis Kalil fanboy. So no matter what you put out, it's going to show up on my homepage.
Thank you, man. That's awesome.
We've talked about your influences. We've talked about the KISS pre-party. Let's talk about your band.
Mm-hmm.
How did Red Devil Vortex come about for you?
Right. Right when I moved here in 2017, the first week I was in Los Angeles, a friend of mine that I had from Brazil that was living here said to me, "Hey, there's a party at this apartment. They're friends of mine from Brazil as well. You should come and meet them." And I get there, and he was Red Devil Vortex at the time.
Sweet.
It was Gabriel and the two other guys at the time were in the band, and we kicked it off right there. As I said earlier, I've always, admired a lot of Gabriel's work ethic and his commitment with his career and his craft and everything, and his passion for the band. Because I've always liked not only the band, but also the brand Red Devil Vortex. The V, the artworks, everything was really tied in together. And when the pandemic hit, I really went hard on doing, everything I could online. I played all the solos reimagined, and I've put out online courses, and I've done a lot of interviews online and whatnot. But, it was getting to a point that being a solo guitar player wasn't enough for me anymore. Because, when you work by yourself, there's the good side and the bad side, like everything else in life. And you never have any kind of other outside perspective because whatever you decide, that's what's going to be. You know what I mean? That can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing as well. And Gabriel was going through a rough time at the time, like everybody else during the pandemic. And I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, man, why don't we get together and write a song or do something just for the fuck of it, And he's like, "Yeah, man, come over. Let's do something." And then we started, messing with riffs and stuff like that. And we wrote a song that he always says that it's a shitty song. It's called "The Rain Is Gone." That's the title of the song that we wrote. But I could see that we had a lot of chemistry because the song came about in 2 hours. We had nothing, right? We didn't in with anything pre-made or pre-recorded. We're just looking at each other, throwing ideas and stuff back and forth. And the song finished. We finished the song in like 2 hours, I think. And then I came back one more time, and then I told him, "Hey, man, what do you think?" Like he was looking for a guitar player, funny enough, in 2019 or early 2020. And he called me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to join the band?" And I said, "No, I don't. I have enough stuff going on." I was very confident on my solo project at the time. I just had a show with Gus G during NAMM. It was awesome and things were picking up, and I thought that was my destiny to just be a solo guitar player. And then the pandemic happened and everything, changed. So by the time I call him back, like one year and a half after the fact, it was a more natural decision because we got to know each other a lot more. At the time, he wasn't, he didn't have a guitar player, so I was more hanging out with him than the group that he had back then. So I kind of knew him better, got to know him better, and we have just developed a great friendship and a great partnership overall. Like when you move abroad like that and you leave your family behind, you kind of make your own family by choice, and he's definitely a family member to be, and we try to preserve that as much as we can. So when we go on stage, it's exactly the reaction that you guys told us, that it's something light and fun and spontaneous,
Absolutely. Father Rocco.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I think I was.
There you are.
Happy to be back, man. I think I was hacked. I had to recreate Zoom and everything. So,
shit.
but the biggest question I have as a guitar player who's like intermediate, I'm nothing really. Just now getting really into electric as far as a guitar player. I love all different types of guitar, flamenco. Like, do you venture into other styles too, for fun?
I've studied a lot of stuff at MI, during my 1 year and a half at the school, but I don't venture a lot in other styles, not because it's just like it's not what I listen to. You know what I mean? I'm probably the least eclectic person you're gonna meet in your life. Like I always say this, like if it wasn't for rock and roll, I wouldn't be in music, man. That's I like the whole thing, you know, the culture part of it, the you know what I mean, the
Absolutely.
theatrics of it. And I don't see a lot of that in other genres. And you know, Gabriel says there's a lot. It gets to a point that you know what you want to hear, right?
Right.
So I have nothing but respect to all genres. And you know, at MI especially, I spent a lot of time learning. I didn't take any rock lessons at MI, by the way. It was all jazz, fusion, funk.
wow.
All my classes were that.
Jazz
Because
is not easy.
oh no, definitely not. But that's how I got my improvisation skills. You know what I mean? Because in jazz, in metal, the speed is on your fingers. In jazz, it's in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was the missing point for me, because I was improvising and coming up with like solos that were more like mechanic than well thought out.
Right.
And the jazz part of it gave me the whole theory aspect and knowledge about my playing and the fretboard on the guitar. So those
cool.
like that 1 year and a half changed my life like a lot when it comes to my guitar playing, maturing my choices and my knowledge about the instrument itself, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you weren't a musician, what would you do?
I think I would work with probably, because my mom's side of the family, they're all doctors, right? My grandpa had the same name, Luis Kalil, and he was a doctor in my town. Very well known, and he was a very, very wise man. But I think if I wasn't, I don't see myself being a doctor, because I feel like my mom sits around like a lot in her clinic, and she takes care of the patients and stuff. I think I like something more business oriented. Like I would probably come up like with like maybe work with my father that has a business. I think that would probably be my best take. Something with like selling people an idea, you know what I mean? Like fighting for an ideal or something like that. But it's hard to imagine, because you know, now with music, I say these things because with my career, you know, we have to do most of the work business wise, all of the work business wise. So you kind of get a feeling of what you're good at and what you're not good at. And but it's hard to imagine doing all that stuff if the end goal is not to play music, you know what I mean? So I think I would be very lost, kind of, you know, wrapping my head around the fact that the end goal would be monetary success and that's it. You know, I don't know.
Well, you said earlier, you brought up earlier about the brand of Red Devil Vortex. I don't know that I can remember a band in the last 20 or 30 years that nurtured their brand in a way that you guys seem like you're doing. I mean, I ordered my Red Devil Vortex shirt, which you're wearing right now, and it hasn't come in yet, but even if I didn't like the band, I love the t-shirt and I love the red V. And I am one that really likes the theatrical side of instruments.
Right.
In other words, it's not just a guitar. It does matter what it looks like.
Absolutely.
And your newest guitar is in my top 5.
Oh,
the
dude,
new
thank you.
red guitar with the V on the fretboard. I mean, like that's one of the reasons why I was always a KISS fan.
Right.
KISS very rarely had boring instruments. And for somebody that can't play one, I like to look at them. And if I could afford it, I'd have guitars hanging on my walls everywhere, and they would mostly be KISS.
Yeah.
Because everybody else just goes with, you know, normal.
Yeah.
KISS, there's leopard print, there's shattered glass, there's axe basses, there's smoking guitars, there's guitars with lights in it. Like that's all part of to me, that's all part of the brand and what sets them apart. You guys, every time I find a different music video, I'm like, Jesus, this is better than the last one. Like the effort that goes into it and the merchandise and everything, I mean, like I'm not putting anybody else down, but most bands just put out, oh, let's just put out a shirt that says Red Devil Vortex on it. No, you guys are putting out good stuff that even if, like at least in America, there's kids walking around that are 16, 17 years old. My youngest daughter is 18. She comes into my house every other day with a different shirt that I'm like, do you even know who that is?
Yeah.
No, I just like the design. My kid walks in with a Grateful Dead shirt and she's 18 years old. I'm like, you don't know who the Grateful Dead is? No, I don't have a clue, but I like the shirt.
Yeah.
Like that's a good business model.
Yeah.
It's like us. You don't have to watch or listen to our podcast. Just buy our merchandise.
Yeah. It's that's part of, like, Gabriel has a really specific vision of what he wants to see, and that comes to fruition in all the videos and everything visual, because also you haven't seen us live yet, but there's a lot of elements, the lasers and the V's, and
I've seen you live off of YouTube, and that was the next thing I was going to bring up is
right.
You have a stage show.
Right. Yeah. That's
like there's huge bands that are playing arenas that don't have a stage show. You guys have an actual stage show. Like with the V's on each side and all the lights. Yes.
Speaking of that, I have a very important question. When are you guys coming to the East Coast?
We don't know yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we have.
We'll be there.
Thank you. Absolutely, you guys are our guests.
And finally, do you have anything that you would like all Luis Kalil fans to know? What are you currently working on, and where can you be found?
Well, I'll tell you guys that we're working on a lot of new songs as we speak, and there's a lot of stuff to come out and to happen this year. The band is growing a lot, and we're really, really working hard to bring the new era of the band and stepping up our game. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing for us. We don't want to repeat phases of the band. We always want to, go up and higher and higher.
Well, so, Rock and Roll needs you guys.
Thank you. Rest assured, we're working very hard as it gets on that. And, keep an eye on my social media. Luis Kalil _ and Red Devil Vortex, and you guys are gonna see everything. Okay.
Great. Thank you for hanging with the Hooligans. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
I can promise you we will be supporting you in any way we can, and we hope you'll come back and hang with us again in the future. Because, dude, I know I have a lot more questions to ask you. There's other things I want to dive into. So.
Awesome,
we'd love to have you back in the future if we didn't alienate you at all during this hour.
Keep kicking ass,
man. A big pleasure hanging out with you guys, and getting to feel, as I always say, the passion of KISS fans is special, man. So thank you for all the love and all the kindness. You guys are very, very kind to me, to Red Devil, the Handsome Devils, and you guys got a friend in me. Anything you need, let me know.
All right, thank you, Luis, and I will text you tomorrow.
Have a great night.
And we'll go from there.
You too, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I want a Kalil action figure. They're on the website. Yeah, dude,
it's cool. On the website. I saw
it's like $100, dude.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
a Gabe and a Kalil.
It's still cheaper than the Vinnie Vincent single,
and you can play with it.
Oh my god, that's good.
You could get a Luis Kalil action figure and a Gabriel Connor action figure for the price of a Vinnie Vincent Ride the Serpent single.
And that's not value. I don't know what you need.
Right. Exactly.
He was cool, man. He was really cool.
He's a good dude. So far, we've had it made with our guests. Our guests have been great. Both of them have been really down to earth, good, genuine people.
Yeah. I think they make us look better. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you are watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like them guys right there, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button, just like those guys right there, so you don't miss any future episodes, and check out these episodes right here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us, and don't forget, we should all lead with love and take care of each other. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.